February 2020, the Black History Month. I think to myself, how about a video about black directors? Then I broke my computer and by the time I got another one, I completely forgot about the idea and thought no one would care since it's no longer Black History Month. And went on to make videos about Terminator and Mary Jane Watson from the Spider-Man movies, which you should definitely go check out. The reason I'm telling you this boring story is because I have decided to make this because no one on YouTube bothered to do it. Seriously guys, how is that possible? I know maybe it's because it feels regressive to isolate directors based on their skin color, but hey, if we can have the BET Awards, I'm going to make this video, okay? So here are my picks for the top 10 best movies by black directors.
We can do this.
Number 10, Selma, director Ava DuVernay. The best way to kick off this top 10 is with a movie about Martin Luther King's epic march from Selma to Montgomery. The 2014 Ava DuVernay masterpiece is the perfect kind of movie to educate dumbasses like me who were too lazy in high school to read Martin Luther King stories. Hey, I'm not American, don't judge me. I love this movie and the only reason it's not higher on the list is because like every other movie about history,
it's not very rewatchable.
So the movies above it are just movies I have rewatched more. But I have to say, Ava DuVernay directs the hell out of this movie. She's great.
Are you an engineer or a nigger?
Number 9, 12 Years a Slave, director Steve McQueen. I'm not gonna lie, I've seen this movie only once. I hate slave movies, they just make me fucking miserable, okay? But I also think it's an important part of black history, which also makes 12 Years a Slave one of the most important movies ever made. That's without mentioning all the amazing performances in the film. The only reason this movie is not higher on the list is probably because of this scene right here.
Striker, black striker!
God! No! Please! Make it stop! Number 8. Dope. Director Rick Famuyiwa. Famuyiwa? Anyway, this movie is awesome, alright? You got Miles Morales, Iris West and Flash fucking Thompson together in a movie. Of course it had to make the list. Seriously though, before being mostly known for being one of the many directors who left the Flash movie over creative differences, Rick Famuyiwa made this gem, a funny, socially relevant, intelligent, progressive and fresh film about high schoolers surviving life in a tough neighborhood. Shamik Moore, Kiersey Clemons and Tony Revolori are all very good and honestly, it would be the top of the list if the movies ahead were not as good as they are.
That's so boy.
He's not a boy.
Number 7, If Beale Street Could Talk, director Barry Jenkins. So I have a confession to make. I don't rate Barry Jenkins as high as everyone else. I think he's a great director, but I find his movies a bit too pretentious and sometimes it feels like he prioritizes style over substance, and as a result, I've always felt like even though I think his movies look really good, I just don't really care about anything happening, and that's a damn shame. Please don't dislike this video. I like his movies, okay? With that being said, I think If Beale Street Could Talk is definitely his best movie so far. I had the choice between this and Moonlight and I chose this without any hesitation. If Beale Street Could Talk dives deeper in its themes and seems to care a lot about the story of these characters, which made me care about their story. Also, there's this scene.
Baby, can I tell you something, sweetie? Ever since the first day I laid eyes on your very fine person, oh, I've been dreaming about it. And I can't tell whether I want to tear it out with my fingers or my teeth. And if you touch my baby sister, I'm going to have to make up my mind real quick. So touch her.
What's happening? Bitch, I'm a savage.
Number 6, Girls Trip, director Malcolm D. Lee. After watching a lot of movies by black directors to prepare for this, I noticed that I have enjoyed comedies more than any other genre. I mean, it's just what we are. Black people are just funny. It's one thing we are just good at. And Girls Trip is the perfect example of that. I don't think there is a movie in 2017 that made me laugh more than Girls Trip. And I don't mean just movies by black directors, I mean overall. It was hands down the funniest shit I've seen that year, and it had to make the list. I'm sorry, I had to do it. Also, it's this high on the list because I'll definitely watch Tiffany Haddish suck a banana like a dick over Lupita Nyong'o getting whipped like a dog any day of the week. I'm sorry, I prefer laughter over emotional trauma. It is what it is. Number 5, straight out of Compton, director F. Gary Gray.
Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. A young nigga got it bad cause I'm brown.
I don't like music biopics. They are formulaic and boring. I find no interest in watching something when I already know how it's gonna play out. That's why I still haven't seen Bohemian Rhapsody or Rocketman and countless other biopics. But holy shit, was Straight Outta Compton a great movie. I'm a huge hip hop fan, and NWA in the world of hip hop are like myths. They are legends. I didn't grow up listening to them religiously or anything like that. I started listening to hip hop around the time the likes of Jay-Z and Nas started their reign. Tupac and Biggie just died, Dr. Dre had a successful solo career, and Ice Cube started making movies. So NWA, like I said, was a myth. That's why I was really looking forward to this, and oh boy, it delivered big time. I didn't only like it as an NWA story, but as a movie. The script is so brilliant that I don't even care that it's not 100% historically accurate.
There's never been a black cop in this city. We think you might be the man to open things up around here.
Number 4, Black Klansman, director Spike Lee. Spike Lee is like the godfather of African American directors. From Do the Right Thing, The 25th Hour to Malcolm X, it was really hard to pick only one movie. The only reason I picked this one is because it's different to anything else on the list, and it's also relevant to today's world. And it's also the proof that Spike Lee still got it after all these years. John David Washington, Denzel Washington's son, shines in his role, and Adam Driver is great as always.
You keep driving, you black spear chucker piece of shit, nigger!
Nothing more to say, this movie is great.
South Central Los Angeles, a place where drugs, crime, and violence.
Number 3, Boys in the Hood, director John Singleton. Boys in the Hood is timeless in my opinion. I was especially impressed with how it was able to capture the life in the hood so well that even someone like me, who has never set foot in America, could relate to it just by comparing it to the life in the hood where I grew up. The greatest aspect of the film is how it tackles its themes. It's not very subtle, but that's probably because at the time, black people had to speak louder to be heard, and between Boys in the Hood, Do the Right Thing, or even foreign films like La Haine, the 90s were really where black people said, fuck this shit, we're gonna call these people out. And Boys in the Hood is definitely one of the best movies to tackle this subject.
I, Zuri, son of Badu, give to you Prince T'Challa, the Black Panther.
Number 2, Black Panther, director Ryan Coogler. Fruitvale Station and Creed are some of the best movies made in the past decade, but Black Panther had a bigger impact than both, for the simple reason that it was the first superhero movie featuring a black protagonist, directed by a black man with a mostly black cast. And no, don't bring up Blade, we all know he was the first black superhero, but we are talking about the modern superhero era. Give it a rest. While Black Panther didn't really do anything new story-wise that we haven't seen before, its respect for actual African representation is something to applaud. And by the way, this is what the next video will be about. We are going to be talking about Black Panther and African representation in movies since the beginning of time. I'm just putting it out there, you don't want to miss it. Black Panther is the kind of movies that Hollywood has needed for a long time now, and I am so glad it exists. The only reason it's not number 1 is because there is another movie. This movie is as important as Black Panther, but without the bad CGI, Marvel usual story issues, and a franchise burden, but with as much style and passion and a very clever message. The movie is not other than Tyler Perry's A Fall from Grace. I don't understand why people make fun of Tyler Perry's movies. They are inventive, fun, and contain good messages. And A Fall from Grace is the best of them all. It's I can't do this.
Get out. Sorry, man.
Get out!
Yo!
Yeah!
Yo! Chill, man.
Get out!
Chill!
Chill, man! Chill!
Number one, number one, Get Out. Director Jordan Peele. I'm a huge Jordan Peele fan. I think the guy is a genius. Us was my second favorite movie of last year, only behind Parasite. And I think I like that movie even more than Get Out. But I'm putting Get Out at number one because I think it brilliantly tackled themes that have been handled by countless other directors of color, but did it with so much subtlety. The screenplay is fantastic, it's smart, layered, and extremely creepy at the same time. My problem with black directors has always been about limitations. It looked like black directors were only allowed to do either straight-to-DVD movies or social commentary with no subtlety, or they just make more slave movies. I just love that we live in a time where we can have Black Panther and Get Out, movies that don't forget to say something meaningful while also having fun. Get Out is one of the greatest achievements by an African American director and will serve as a strong foundation for what's to come for black directors in Hollywood, and I'm really excited for the future. So, what did you think of the list? I know I failed to mention a lot of great movies and great directors. Some I've watched but just couldn't fit in the list. Others I haven't watched yet. For example, I still need to check out Nia Da Costa's work. I'm hearing she's great. And if this video doesn't completely flop, maybe I'll make a part 2. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the lists. I'm working on yet another video essay, because those are always fun, even though they are too fucking long and difficult to make. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time with a video about Black Panther. Until then, take care. Bye.